name is Neusmeyer. The company's name, or my company's name, is RawData. The quick story background on RawData is that it started between an argument between a friend and I. There was this very poorly produced radio commercial. We learned that, and the argument was that so many people would change the station when that commercial aired, that it would affect that station's value. And so what we thought was, if 20% of the people leave, you should charge 20% more to air that ad. And so that's what we set out to do, and what we really quickly learned was that actually telling how many people change the station is the bigger problem. And so that's what we really quickly changed the business to start addressing, was tracking how people move through media. And so right now we track how people move through web, TV, and radio simultaneously. In our industry, we originally set out to solve some problems around market research and consumer research, helping advertisers and broadcasters better understand how consumers worked. One of the things that got in the way was technology adoption, so we needed to find a way to disseminate large volumes of cell phones to the population. And how do we do that? And so that's one of the things that we've started doing is figuring out these ways to get messages into the problem. So as far as winners and losers associated with RawData, I think consumers have a real opportunity to win. You think about what Google did for the web, and they really opened up the web to the masses and made that information accessible. Now you look at the number of Google searches that are happening on handsets, right? We've figured out a method or a means to get smartphones into the population's hand. At the same time, we're addressing very real concerns around media consumption. So there's winners in all of that process, right? The more that you can align an advertiser and a consumer's interests, the more relevant you can keep the advertising, the less it feels like advertising, and the more value that's created in the consumer's life. You could argue it one way or the other, but you're talking about what is possibly the single largest industry in the U.S., right? Advertising. And we've come up with a new approach on it. Traditionally, most analytics have a focus where they focus on an appliance, right? This analytics package focuses on the TV. This analytics package focuses on this. This analytics package focuses on the PC. We've shifted that and given the consumer a voice, and we actually focus on the consumer. We were testing the technology. We had a small panel up and running of 200 people in a single market between the ages of 18 and 34. Tiger Woods is at the Masters, and he hits his eagle. We realized that 60% of the 18 to 34 viewing population were women. So we really quickly went back to the ad agency that we were courting at the time and shared this data with them and said, look at what we found, look at what we've learned. And they were so excited by the data. What happened is the media buyer and the account executive got into this really heated discussion about why women would be watching Masters golf. We had just changed their world. The ability to cycle on this data was really so quickly, I felt it was a fundamental shift in their business, but they went to the next step and focused right on the problem. And so what I did in response to that is I said, well, what if we just asked these women that watched golf why they were watching golf? And so we shot out a text message to all those panelists in the meeting. Before the meeting was out, we had responses from our panelists about why these women were watching golf. And I think that that's going to be the biggest impact, right? Not only what does the quantitative data say, but what are the qualitative results? It's not just the ability to track how a consumer moves through media, but it's also the ability to interact with the consumer as they move through media. And so those aren't necessarily fundamental changes in the business, but they add value to the level of factors.